From Cichy Stadium in Fargo, North Dakota. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jed Thomas alongside my partner Josh Johnson as we get set for North Dakota high school football action as the Shanley Deacons prepare to take on the Valley City Highliners. Well, folks, it is a beautiful night for football. The skies are clear, the trees are turning, and the breeze is blowing. And Josh, it is a beautiful night to knock some heads in, wouldn't you say?
Oh, you know that's right, Jed. And more specifically, I'm going to be looking for Shanley just to have, almost a fun game out here. They're coming off a big win. They're looking to truly show their dominance in the state and just show everybody, we are the Shanley Deacons and we're the real deal. And we're going to continue to keep playing at a very high standard throughout the rest of the season. For Valley City, we're going to be looking at a little more, we still got some fight left for us. They've had a rough season so far, but look for them to show some fight and to keep playing.
Absolutely, Josh. The Deacons and the Highliners find themselves in kind of opposite positions at this point in the season, but no doubt both teams are going to be bringing it all here tonight. Folks, for now, we're going to have to send things down to the PA announcer, but don't go anywhere. Got a great game coming up in just a few minutes.
Smoking is prohibited on school grounds. Also, because of the field turf, sunflower seeds are prohibited in the stadium bleachers and the surrounding field. Thanks for your cooperation on these matters. Concession stand and restrooms are located at the north end of the stadium. I'd like to make a special welcome to all the Holy Spirit, Nativity, St. Joe's, and Trinity students to Cichy Stadium for Deacons Football Elementary Night. At halftime, you'll have the opportunity to go on the field along with the Shanley student ambassadors to play some football. An announcement will be made at halftime to let you know where to meet before going on the field. Tonight's game is sponsored by the Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. At this time, we ask that you please rise as Father Charles LaCroix leads us in prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Father, through the death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus, you have made us your adopted sons and daughters, confident to call you Father. And we thank you, Father, for gathering your family together here tonight. We ask you to be with us throughout the entire evening. Watch over us, bless us and those close to us. Keep the players free from injury and harm. Allow them to play to the best of their ability. Reward them for their efforts tonight. Let everything that we think, say, and do be pleasing in your sight, and when the evening is complete, help us to arrive at our homeward destinations in safety. We pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus, by the power of your Holy Spirit, your God, forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please remain standing. Remove all headwear and place your hand over your heart as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Tonight's singers will be Maria Lusardi, Caroline Hines, Michaela Dauscher, Rose Rimstead, and Cassie Johnson.
Don't go anywhere, folks. High school football action is next after a brief word from our sponsors.
Association
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Butler Machinery Company, Ed's Marine and Storage, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Haley's Hope, Kochman Brothers Homes, Luther Family Buick GMC, Master Construction, Moore Engineering, Netrix IT, Northern Improvement Company, Off the Wall Advertising, Robert Gibb and Sons, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Shields, and TCI Insurance.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas, of course, joined by my partner Josh Johnson, as we're getting ready for what should be a fun night of action here between the Shanley Deacons and the Valley City Highliners. Now, earlier on, we kind of talked about both teams from an overall team perspective, but now let's break it down a little further and look at some of the key individual players here tonight. So, Josh, take it away.
You know, Jed, who I'm really going to be watching for Shanley is, first of all, Cade Busick. Obviously, we've talked about him before, junior quarterback, and the man has been on fire. He's been great passing and great running the ball. And then also for Shanley, looking at Cole Fredericks, the Shanley coaches, they're really going to want to show that they're going to dominate this game. And they're going to do that through the run game and allowing Fredericks to get to the outside and score some touchdowns. For Valley City, we're going to have to look at Luther Zeltinger. He's a senior running back and free safety for Valley City, and really their go-to guy in almost everything. The man is an athlete and a leader, and look for him to lead Valley City.
Absolutely, Josh. As you mentioned there, Luther Zeltinger, just an overall workhorse for Valley City, leads the way on both sides of the ball. He carries the ball, he catches the ball. He'll do whatever the coaches ask of him, and he'll be an absolutely huge piece of their team here tonight. On that Shanley side of things, like you mentioned, definitely Cole Fredericks is a name to watch. He often gets loose on the outside for Shanley. They love to run him with those pitches and those runs to the outside, let him use his speed, which is obviously his best asset. So, yeah, absolutely a couple of names to watch there. But for the Shanley side of things, this Deacon team is looking pretty banged up right now. Obviously, they've been doing well this season, off to a 6-0 start, but there have been some casualties along the way there. A couple of notable ones, Josh, I think you've got right here.
You know, their biggest one by far is senior captain Jake Cava. And Jake Cava is one of those guys. He was the middle backer, leader on defense, but then he was also a tight end, running back, fullback, wide receiver, whatever they needed him to be on offense. He was that, and he made an impact every single game. And then also looking, Trevor Yagi, a sophomore, starting left tackle, he has a concussion. And so now they have a freshman playing Shanley. And that freshman, Simon Bodel, we're really going to have to look to see if he steps up and plays well, you know?
Absolutely, Josh. Those injuries force some new faces into the lineup. As you said, Simon Bowden, the freshman tackle, will be anchoring the left side of the line. That's going to be something to watch. Look for Valley City to maybe try to exploit the inexperience there. Losing Jake Cava up the middle, another huge loss for Shanley. He's a guy with some Division I college football prospects, on the horizon. Just a huge contributor for Shanley in all-state selection last year. And then Caden Kuhneman is another big name. He was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, and he is out. Now, I've talked with Kuhneman, and he is aiming to return. Best case scenario, they're hoping to get him back for the final game of the regular season against Devils Lake, which would be a big game against a top 5 team in the conference. We'll see, though. He's out with a broken collarbone. Progressing well, but don't want to rush an injury like that.
For sure, especially when Cade Busick is playing as well as he is. You want to make sure that he's completely healthy before he's coming back.
No doubt about it, Josh. The Deacons are in good hands with Busick stepping up into that starting role. So we are about ready to start this game off. The Deacons will be kicking this ball away to start things off, so it'll be the Valley City offense that will come out on the field first. It's Cody Malish out to kick this one off for Shanley. He's got a big leg. gets the touchback more often than not, but that does not appear to be the case tonight as Luther Zeltinger is going to bring it up the left side of the field. He cuts back inside, has a little bit of space, is then wrapped up and brought down at the 30-yard line. So that's where the Highliners will go to work.
You know, Judd, we saw previous games that I think Shanley finally figured out their kicking, and that's Cody Malish taking all the kickoffs, and then also Matthew Machenbacher, a sophomore, actually doing all the extra points. So we'll have to look and see if that continues tonight.
Another big area of contribution for Machenbacher is that middle linebacker position where he is filling in for Jake Cava while Cava is out with injury. That's something to watch. He had an absolutely huge game against St. Mary's last week. So a run to the outside to start things off for Valley City. It's Luther Zeltinger. He is brought down fast by a swarming Deacon defense.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, really expect that from the Shanley defense all game. Valley City, they might be trying to go inside, outside, but look for them. If they're trying to go outside, look for that Shanley defense just to be flying over to the ball and really containing the Valley City team.
And real quick here, Josh, we want to give a shout-out to Vera Marcourt watching her nephew Kevin Gladich from Burnsville, Minnesota. So great to hear that you're watching. Shout out to Vera Marcourt in Burnsville. Folks, if you're at home watching this game, be sure to get in contact with us on social media. You can message us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just get in contact with us and we'll try to give you a shout out. Love to know that you're watching. And now, Josh, it looks like the Highliners are going to have about 3rd and 5 here from their own 35-yard line.
And, you know, this is kind of a crucial 3rd down because this sets the tone for the game and almost how this game is going to keep playing. You know, if they could get this 1st down, it really helps them moving into it.
Absolutely, Josh. I couldn't agree more. Let's see what they've got. It's going to be a pass play. They're first of the game, and look at this! A completion downfield to Benton Murray! What a start for the Highliners as Murray is into the end zone for the Highliner touchdown! How about that for a big play, Josh?
You know, Judd, this is exactly what you want if you're Valley City. It looks like he just slipped through the defense right there. I don't know exactly what happened. He just got past the linebackers. The safety wasn't there, and then he just outran everybody to the end zone. Very impressive from Valley City.
And a great ball, too, from Tate Suffolcool, playing quarterback. Just found the open man. And, folks, what a huge play here for Valley City. You know, there's no doubt about it. The Highliners are coming into a hostile environment here as the underdogs. They're 0-6, playing a 6-0 team, but they do not look like it right now. They have come out firing, and now they're going for 2, being aggressive early on. It's going to be a QB run up the middle that's going nowhere as Big Joe Cava is in there to rip the ball away. And, folks, that's a name we're going to be calling a lot on defense. Joe Cava is a monster on the D-line.
He is. He's been a very impressive performer, getting a lot of sacks and tackles for losses. But then also, Jed, what I'm thinking is the mindset for these players right now. You know, Shanley, they have a perfect season so far. They just beat St. Mary's. They're ranked number 1. You know, a lot is going through your head. There's a lot of pressure on you to keep playing well into the season. And, you know, for Valley City, they've had a very rough start. You know, they're 0-6 and everything. It's kind of at that point where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and play, and I'm going to play my best.
And that's exactly what they're doing, Josh, as the Highliners have come out with an absolutely fantastic start here tonight. And, Josh, now you mentioned Shanley coming off a big win here against St. Mary's last week. Something you always got to watch out for the week after a huge win like that. You do not want to go into a bit of a slump. You know, you put a lot into a big game like that, and the next week you can come out a little tired. You come out maybe having not thought about this game very much, you know, with last week's matchup against St. Mary's dominating your thoughts for the last couple weeks. And right now, Valley City, it really seems to have capitalized on that as Shanley a little slow to the draw to start things off. Squib kick up the middle. It's going to be picked up and brought up the near side. Not going too far, but still a nice return there from Miles Wasik.
You know, Shanley offense starting out with great field position. And for the record, though, in previous games, it has not mattered where the Shanley offense has started during the game. They have shown consistently against almost any team in the conference that they can move the ball down the field and they can move it down fast. either through big runs or big passes.
Absolutely, Josh. It's a bit of a different Shanley team this year. They aren't so much of a traditional ground and pound, grind you down team. They're a flashy, air it out type of team, really dependent on their offense. And you see right here a big 14-yard completion to start things off.
And, that just really gives them a rhythm to start out, especially for Cade Busick. It gets them an easy completion early, and then with that, they're able just to move forward. It eases up the box a little bit, allows the run game to be easier.
For sure, those mid-range passes, those 10-yarders are exactly what you want to get yourself in a rhythm, like you said. And Cade Busick to Cam Seville, that's a connection you're going to see a lot tonight. It's a handoff to Fredericks as he gains the edge on the outside, and look at that green space. He's going to be brought down, but folks, give him a couple more inches there, and he was gone.
And Jed, you just saw the speed of Cole Fredericks right there. He just completely outruns the defender, just loops around him on that play, and then cuts upfield. That is the speed that you have to deal with if you're Valley City.
It was a nice hustle there from Riley Gerhardt to run him down pretty deep in Valley City's territory there. Did a nice job getting to a fast guy like Fredericks. Trips left flanker right. Busick fakes the pitch over to Fredericks. He's got space up the middle, and he's wrapped up and brought down. Good for a gain of about 10 and a first down.
You're just seeing some easy completions at the start, and then you run with the outside with Fredericks, you run to the inside with Busick. You're just seeing what the Shanley offense has been doing all year.
No doubt about it, Josh. We've seen a lot of their staples, a pass to Cam Seville, a run with Cole Fredericks, and then a QB run with Cade Busick. Those are about the three most common plays that these Deacons run. And you can see why, because they all worked pretty darn well. So it's not a first down. He's spotted 1 yard short, 2nd and 1, but a completion easily gives him the first down now. Miles Wasick with the grab.
And this Shanley offense, so far they're looking well-oiled and everything. But look, they're in the red zone now. Things get a little bit tighter there. Not so much space to be able to run around. Let's see if Valley City and their defense can step up and hold the Shanley Deacons.
And Josh, something to note from last week's win over St. Mary's. Obviously, it was a big win. Had to be happy with the result. But Shanley had a lot of struggles in the red zone and on 3rd down. So watch for those two scenarios here tonight. I believe Shanley only converted at a 20% rate on 3rd down, which is not what you want at all. They left a lot of good opportunities out on the field in Bismarck.
Very much so, and I can assure you that would be a focus during practice this previous week for the Shanley coaches to make sure that all their players knew that stat. Coming into this game, I can guarantee you that converting on 3rd down would be one of their focuses.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Josh. Knowing these coaches, knowing Troy Mattern, they are not going to let that happen a 2nd week in a row. Busick on the keeper. He's going to truck his way. He's close, but down at the 1. And Josh, he was close, but I think that's the right call. He got brought down just a hair short of the goal line.
He did. The spot is good. But then looking at this, so Busick takes the fake, but then number 42 for Valley City just gets run over by Cade Busick. That's the power that he brings at the QB position.
Yeah, that's Mitchell Taylor, the linebacker in there. Big thing, though, for Taylor, he did not allow himself to be completely overtaken, so he did get the stop, although it's not going to matter now as Cade Busick punches it in to tie things up 6-6. So after a huge opening play for Valley City, Shanley comes right back and ties it up with a chance to take the lead. And Josh, as you mentioned, it is the sophomore Matt Machenbacher on to attempt the PAT. He had an excellent night kicking last week against St. Mary's, hit a 28-yard field goal in the first quarter that proved to be the difference between the two teams. And that one's up and good as well for Matt Machenbacher.
And that's the thing, Jed. So often in these close games, or in close games like last week, the special teams is what comes down to make or break the team. And Machenbacher has proven that he can make those field goals consistently.
And so with that PAT, it is now 7-6 in favor of Shanley. But I tell you what, Josh, I don't think a lot of people would have guessed that it would be just a one-point game right now. between these two squads, Valley City, I think the bigger thing is I don't think a lot of people would have guessed the Highliners would score on their first possession. That was huge for them to get a big play against a very stingy Shanley defense.
Mm-hmm. And all credit to them and everything. You saw the guy sneak past, great plan from the coaches to be able to make that play call and everything, and then even better execution with it.
All right, so the Deacons kicking this ball away now with 8:16 to go in the first quarter. It has been a high-scoring affair so far as both teams have converted on their only possessions. We'll see if that trend continues as Malish airs this one out, and it's dropped right at the 1-yard line. This ball is going to be picked up and brought forward, but not very far. He's wrapped up and brought down around the 12, so the Highliners are going to have a much tougher situation here to start things off on their second possession of the game.
And Jed, right now I would look for the Shanley defense to toughen things up. The coaches obviously aren't going to be happy with that long pass and everything. But now it's a new possession, it's a new drive, it's a new chance for them to show that, hey, we are the Shanley defense and that we're going to play well. Look for them to come out firing.
All right, we'll see if that's the case here as Tate Suffolcool is in shotgun formation. And now he's going to take the QB keeper straight up the gut. He is wrapped up and brought down, though, for no gain. And so not going very far that time is Suffolcool.
And, we already mentioned his name, but in that pile is Joe Cava, showing that he's going to be a presence all throughout this game.
Joe Cava finds himself as the only Cava on the field tonight. As we mentioned, Jake Cava is out, and so that D-line is going to have to step up their game. They can't rely on a guy like Jake Cava to be the stopgap back there. They're going to have to get things done at the line of scrimmage here tonight, maybe a bit more than usual. Josh, I don't think that'll be a problem, though, as this Shanley D-line is one of the best in the state.
Oh, very true. They showed that last week with St. Mary's, being able to stop the St. Mary's run game pretty consistently throughout the whole game. Not a minor feat by any marks.
So, third down and about 6 yards to go here for Valley City, deep in their own territory. Last time they had a third down, we said it was going to be an absolutely huge one, and that really has not changed here. It would be big for Valley City's confidence if they could get another big play on third down. Suffolcool in shotgun, has one man out to the left. He's going to drop back, pressure coming, going to have to roll out, fires it downfield, and that is too tall for anybody. And so it's 3 and out for the Highliners. A great response by the Deacons on defense here in their second try.
And Valley City, the offensive line almost instantly got broken through. The Shanley defensive pressure just coming straight in and getting pressure instantly, making it almost impossible to get a solid completion.
That's something we've seen a lot this season, Josh. Shanley rushes the quarterback. Sometimes it seems like at will, and we've seen that do some very bad things to some very good quarterbacks. We've seen a lot of great QBs struggle against this Shanley D-line. Here's a great punt that's going to be fielded by Erie right around his own 40. He rolls out, gets a great block from Miles Wasik, but a flag is down, and I think that will be going against Wasik.
It looks like it might be a blocking in the back call, or...
Yeah, I'm not sure, Josh. It's tough. We can't get the replay, unfortunately. The flag was thrown right around the spot where Wasik was. The only thing I could have seen there was, I think he may have made some contact helmet to helmet there, but not too often you see a flag for that blocking. But, Josh, I think you've got the call now.
It's always a struggle during special teams because everybody's running down the field full speed. You don't know what's going to happen. The guys are just flying all around. And so with that, the refs are just trying to pick out anything that they can see. And, it can be tough calls.
And so that does end up being a block in the back. And now back Shanley up to their own 40-yard line. So slightly tougher field position than they had. But if this Shanley offense plays like they did on their first possession, it should not matter. As Cade Busick has Cam Seville wide open, but he just overthrows him. And so a tough missed opportunity there for the Deacons.
And Jed, that would have been a touchdown if they would have completed it there. And that's the thing. In the previous weeks, we've seen Cade Busick make that throw time and time again, just hitting the wide receiver in stride. You got to hope that he gets his throw back and is able to make those completions.
Absolutely, Josh. If I'm the Shanley Deacons, though, I've got a lot of confidence in Cade Busick. Throw like that really is not going to concern me after the way he's delivered the past couple of weeks. Doubles formation for the Deacons. They fake the handoff to Fredericks. Busick powers forward, but he won't make it too far as he's wrapped up and brought down for a gain of 2 or 3.
And there's Valley City showing a little bit of their own power, stopping the run there, almost throwing Cade Busick back, just driving the pile, showing that, hey, we're going to keep fighting and then we're going to keep driving.
So under 6 minutes left to go now in the first quarter. The Deacons facing a big third down now, 3rd and 7. If Valley City could force a 3-and-out here, that'd be huge for their defense's confidence. Shanley was able to do that to them on their second possession, get the 3-and-out. Let's see what the Highliners can do as Busick fires one to Seville, and it was close. Looked to maybe overthrow him a little bit. Seville did retract the hands there. Seemed like he might have a shot at it, but it was tough.
Just misjudged it slightly, I think, Jed. But another thing that we've seen from the Shanley offense this year is that they are willing to go for it on 4th down almost anywhere on the field. A thing that Troy Mattern and his coaches bring is a very aggressive mindset. And so with that, it looks like they're going to be going for it on this down. Let's see what they come up with.
As you said, Josh, this is very aggressive play calling, but it's nothing we haven't seen from Troy Mattern before. Busick in shotgun. It's a play-action pass over the middle, complete to McKeever, and now Jake McKeever is going to be brought down at the 25-yard line. Forget about the first down. He was thinking touchdown.
And Jed, Jacob McKeever, he's a senior. He hasn't played football in recent years, but he's been one of those guys where he's made 1 or 2 catches a game, but every single one of his catches is in huge downs or huge places and has just made a very big difference in all of their games.
Right, McKeever just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. 5:15 left to go now in the first quarter, and the Deacons are driving after a huge 4th down conversion. It's a handoff up the middle to Caleb Chrisman, and he was just about gone. Chrisman was Shanley's leading rusher last week against St. Mary's, and you can see why there as he shows not only speed but also power as he bowls his way down inside the 10.
And, he's one of those guys where he just really does have that power and speed. If you looked at him, you would think maybe he's like on the line, a tight end maybe, but he will outrun you in almost any situation. He is a fast man.
Absolutely, really deceptive speed. Big guy, a lot of power, but a lot of speed to go with it. As this ball is brought up the gut and just short of the goal line. I believe that's Austin Manuel on the carry. The fullback and middle linebacker for the Deacons has had to step up into a bigger role in the absence of Jake Cava. He's now the most experienced linebacker on that Deacon linebacking core.
And he's filled in quite nicely.
Yeah,
he's looked good.
Josh, yeah, he's really stepped up real well. And with Matt Machenbacher playing so well, it hasn't been too difficult for him. As Buckles is going to reach out, and he will break the plane and score Shanley's 2nd touchdown of the evening, making it 13-6 now in favor of the home squad.
And Jed, what you're seeing there, it's basically an extended run. Instead of pitching the ball to, say, Fredericks, what they do is they just throw it out to Haley Buckles on the screen and just allow him just to burst through and get a touchdown.
Matt Machenbacher lining up now for the PAT. Austin Manuel will snap. Snap's good, holds good, the kick is up, and that's good as well. So the Deacons make it 14-6 now, and a great response after a huge play to start things off for Valley City.
And there's 4:16 left on the clock. Valley City was able to have that nice first play with the score, but now they haven't shown too much since then, Jed. And, I really think looking at them, I hope that they can come back and keep playing well.
Right, Josh. It's always tough. You start a game off with a big play like that. You want to keep that momentum up, and sometimes it can almost feel, even if you're playing well after that play, a big play early on can almost kind of make the rest of the game look not so good by comparison. So, while it's nice to have that big play to start things off, Valley City is going to have to show that they're not a one-play team and start to ramp things up here, put a little more pressure on these Deacons. Malish now to kick off once again. It's another strong boot up the middle. It's going to be fielded just at the goal line. And now bringing it up is the quarterback, Suffolcool, and he'll be brought down just short of the 20-yard line.
I like it from Valley City, aggressive on special teams. He could have let it bounce to the end zone, and a lot of teams will do that. But I like it how he takes it out. He's going to show that I'm going to take this back, and that I'm going to show that I'm willing to go the distance every play.
Yeah, and especially when that's your quarterback back there fielding that kickoff. Something fun to watch from the, if you're another Valley City player, you love to see your QB with the aggressive return style. And so, Suffolcool in shotgun once again, but it's a direct snap to Zeltinger, who's going nowhere. Wrapped up and brought down behind the line of scrimmage, as this Shanley defense has really stiffened up since the opening drive.
I'm pretty sure that was Brady Ort. He's a senior lineman and has truly been a steadfast person for the Shanley team throughout his whole career. One of those steady guys that always just makes the play and is where he's supposed to be.
And Josh, in an update from AA action out west, Watford City is leading number 2 Bismarck St. Mary's 6-3 after one quarter. And boy, St. Mary's could really use a win this week after picking up their first loss of the season last week to this Shanley squad.
And it can really hurt a team's confidence. St. Mary's hadn't lost to Shanley in, I think, almost 3 or 4 years. I could be wrong on that. But Shanley finally coming out and showing that they can win against St. Mary's, it would hurt their confidence. It would hurt their pride.
No doubt about it, Josh. You were right there. It was about 8 straight games, I believe, that Shanley dropped to St. Mary's. So to pick up their first win in a long time last week was a big confidence boost for Shanley, and like you said, not so great for St. Mary's. In the action at hand, though, we got a bomb downfield that's going to be picked off by Talon Hoffer. And Talon Hoffer, what a ball hawk he's been this season for Shanley. That's his 4th interception of the season, and let's get a look at this replay.
And, you see the ball just kind of hucked up there downfield. Hopefully one of his wide receivers can make the play. But Talon just showing his athletic ability and his ball hawking skills.
He had the right idea targeting Sam Byerly there, but just overthrows him, and it's, like you said, the safety Hoffer in there to pick that one off. Tough throw to make, though, if you're Suffolcool. He had some backside pressure coming from Caleb Chrisman. Chrisman just does such a good job getting around the edge there. Very tough guy to contain, and now Busick going to load up and fire one downfield. That one looked like it was going to be complete, but it's a drop at about the 20-yard line for Jake McKeever. And so, Josh, we talked about how Jake McKeever always seemed to have 1 or 2 great catches in a game. That could have been one, but, it was good coverage that he ended up dropping that ball there.
He's usually a very sure-handed fellow. He has been with it and everything. But then also, unfortunately, it looks like he's a little bit slow to get up right now. Maybe twisted his ankle or something.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be too severe. Just looks like a lower body type of injury. He did fall awkwardly. For the Deacons' sake, though, and for his, obviously, you hope he is okay. From a team perspective, though, Shanley really hoping he's okay because the injury bug has bitten them hard this season. We talked about it early on. You can really name quite a large number of starters who have gone out for the Deacons with injury this season. You got Trevor Yagi, the starting left tackle, concussed right now. Brandon Rosberg was in the mix in the O&D lines. He was playing a lot of rotational minutes, was in the mix for a starting job before breaking his wrist early on in the season. Caden Kuhneman, the starting quarterback, has a broken collarbone. Jake Cava, starting middle linebacker, has a sprained MCL. The list just goes on and on, Josh. But, man, has Shanley shown off their depth in the wake of all those injuries.
And that's another thing. A lot of these guys playing, you wouldn't have expected expected them to play from last year. But it's that next man up mentality that, we're always going to have somebody to fill the position.
So I formation for the Deacons after the incompletion. It's a handoff to Cole Fredericks, who's going to slip and slide his way out for a gain of 6 or 7.
You just see those aggressive cut movements from him, constantly trying to find where the best placement in the hole is.
Yeah, like you said, Josh, Cole Fredericks has great vision out there as a running back for Shanley. It's really his first year getting an opportunity to get some heavy starting minutes, but he's doing a great job. He's really kind of taken that starting running back role, and quite literally, he's run with it. And it's worked out well. Obviously, you see the carry there, going to pick up a first down for Shanley.
Jed, your pun game all throughout this whole season. I appreciate it, but at the same time, I just cringe every time.
Josh, I think the listeners at home might agree with you too, but that's okay. Because we got great football going down on the field as Shanley is driving here up 14-6. Just over 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. And this Valley City defense needs to stiffen up right now as Shanley is kind of firing at will.
And that's the thing. With the Shanley offense, what you've seen some shots being taken, but also they're running the ball almost at will at this point. You see running with Fredericks and Busick and Chrisman. All of them have been able to run the ball successfully and get down the field.
So now 2nd and 4 for Shanley with 1:30 left to go in the first. Doubles formation, Busick in shotgun, low snap, fakes the handoff, fires over the middle of the field, and Seville did a great job forcing his way open. He had to go down to get a low ball, but he just could not bring it in. Might have gotten away with a little bit of a push-off there, but it was close.
Always tough to call that offensive interference, But with that, he was able to get, in good position with that.
Just a bit of a low ball there for him to try to bring in. It's going to make it 3rd and 5. As we mentioned last week, third downs were really Shanley's Achilles heel, only converting about at a 20% clip. Already they're doing a much better job here tonight. We'll see if that continues as Busick is going to carry up the middle. He's got the first down and then some. Cade Busick, no one's going to catch him, and that's good for Shanley's 3rd touchdown of the evening.
And it's just a simple QB draw. He makes one man miss, and then it's just off to the races. Cade Busick's showing his speed and outrunning everybody.
He's got a lot of speed, a lot of power, and a great arm. He's really just kind of a Swiss Army knife at the quarterback position. He can do it all, and it's been really great for Shanley this season. If they're playing a team with a great pass defense, they can run it with their QB. If they're playing a team with a great run defense, then they can air it out. Cade Busick really doing it all for Shanley this year. Kick is up from Machenbacher, and that's another good one. So 21-6 in favor of the Deacons. How about this first quarter, Josh?
One thing I want to comment on, we saw Cade Busick overthrow Cam Seville once, and one thing that has been shown to help him is when he's just been able to run the ball. Because when he's able to run that ball, he's a very, very elite runner. And so it builds his confidence, and from there, his throws come a little bit more naturally and a little bit more on point.
Yeah, Josh, we've talked previously about Cade Busick, kind of a natural runner, even at the quarterback position. He's played some running back, too, so obviously his game kind of all begins from that running. But he's really grown as a passer the last couple of years. Like you said, he still needs to ease into it. He needs to kind of get those runs under his belt to ease into the game. But once he feels comfortable, once he's able to kind of play the game the way he wants to and he starts throwing, he can be pretty deadly accurate. We've seen that here tonight a couple times, and we've seen it for the majority of the season. Cody Malish out for his 4th kickoff of the first quarter, and Valley City is just going to let this one roll into the end zone. And I think that's a good call, as it has not worked out in their favor the last couple of times to try to bring that out.
That is true, Jed. And there's 1:12 left in the first quarter. You're down right now by 15 points if you're Valley City. And you're thinking, in this offensive drive, I'm just really hoping that we can get something going with this. The Shanley defense has shown what they're made of in these previous drives, and so Valley City is really going to be looking to make a statement.
Right, like I said earlier, you want to show you are not a one-play team. You don't want to let that one great play early on be your only great play. And we'll see what they can do. Suffolk fires one, and that was in and out of the hands of Matt Machenbacher. He had 2 picks last week. He was looking for another tonight.
And it's not too often that you see a middle linebacker with the type of ball hawking abilities that Machenbacher has. He used to play outside linebacker, getting a little more man-to-man coverage with that, but they transition him to middle because he has that physical nature and is able to track the runner really well.
So the Highliners come out, fortunate to avoid the interception on that first down. It's 2nd and 10 with 1:09 left to go in the first. Suffolk drops back, has a little bit of time, fires, and that one should have been caught by the offense this time. So a drop for the defense on first down and a drop for the offense on second as Luther Zeltinger couldn't bring it in.
And, you know, we're seeing throws from him where he's just trying to thread the needle right into those tiny gaps. And the Shanley defense is making him do that. They're on these wide receivers tight. They're covering the holes, and they're making it be very difficult throws.
So 3rd down and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. Have to imagine they'll be throwing again here. The run game hasn't worked out too well, and they got a long way to go. That is the case. Suffolk drops back. Infamous 3rd down blitz from Coach Huber. And that completion is not going too far as Zeltinger is brought down for a gain of 1 or 2. And like I said, Josh, that is the calling card of Shanley D coordinator Steve Huber. He loves to call those blitzes, and they work pretty well as you see Wasik get in there and force a maybe not the best passes from Suffolk.
And with those blitzes, then it brings man-to-man coverage on the defense. You saw Valley City complete there. If they could complete for a longer gain next time, those blitzes can backfire.
Right, and you even saw an open man over the middle there, but when you've got that kind of pressure on you, it's really hard for Tate Suffolk to find the open man. He's just got to get rid of the ball. And now Tom Erie takes that ball off the bounce and returns it out to about the 42-yard line. So Shanley with excellent field position to begin this possession. Just 18 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Shanley in control, up 21-6. Was a great start to the game for the Highliners, but since then it has been all Deacons. And folks, an update from some more Double-A football action. Jamestown leads Wahpeton 7-0 with 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. And look at this bobbled ball. It's on the ground. It looked like the Highliners might have it, and that is the case. Valley City hops on the fumble, and let's get a look at the replay. I believe it was Buckles, yes, on the pitch. He couldn't bring it in. Tried to get back to it, bounces, and is then hopped on by a couple of Highliners. I think that was Carson Magoof in there to get on top of it.
And that's one of those things as a running back, when you're getting a pitch, you first just need to focus on having that ball and then getting it securely into your arms. Haley probably just thinking a little bit too much about the run, a little bit too much about where he's going to go instead of securing it first.
Well, it's a huge opportunity now for Valley City. Let's see what they can do with it. Suffolk has to roll out. He found his check down man, but couldn't bring it in. It was Noah Plagans who just couldn't quite get that one in the breadbasket.
And if I'm the Valley City offense, a lot of these guys go both ways on offense and defense for Valley City. You have to expect them to be fired up because of this turnover. You know, it's one of those breaks that you get and that you want to capitalize on.
No doubt about it, Josh, because you know this Shanley team is not going to be turning that ball over too much tonight. So the few you do get, you got to do something with it. Doubles formation now for the Highliners. It's going to be a run with Suffolk up the middle. We got a flag down. Suffolk was wrapped up and brought down, though, for only a gain of 2 or 3. Let's see what the penalty is, though. And this is not good news for the Highliners as Tate Suffolk is down, and he looks to be in a bit of pain right now. You hope for his sake and the sake of the Highliners that he's okay, because he's really kind of a do-it-all type of player for them.
As we see on this play, it's just a QB draw up the middle. He gets wrapped up, and then the pile, being in that pile, he's locked up, people are holding on to him, grabbing him, and those piles are deadly because it's opposing forces just pushing right onto the person with the ball.
Right, you know, you can just kind of get bent every which way when you got all those guys on you, and so that is really unfortunate here for Valley City. You hope Suffolk's okay. And Josh, you know, I thought he was having, to be honest, a really good game, all things considered. You know, I think he had a lot of drops from his receivers that obviously hurt his numbers, but facing a lot of pressure, I think he made some really good completions, some great decisions. The biggest thing was he just did not seem to force anything. You know, he wasn't putting the ball in too many bad spots. You know, we saw some passes that probably should have been picks, but for the most part, I thought Tate Suffolk was having a better game than the numbers will probably show at the end of this one.
And I agree with you, Jed. A lot of it has to be put on the Shanley defense and in their ability to cover the men. But also, he's looked at the Shanley defense and he's been able to work with what he's been given from them and try to make plays with what he has.
And Josh, they do signal what the penalty is. Well, Suffolk is down. It was a false start, I believe, going against the Highliners, but that will be declined by the Deacons, as it's going to bring up third down by declining the penalty. And so a bit of a delay here as we hope that Tate Suffolk is okay. Like we said, the starting quarterback for the Highliners, he's back there for returns on kickoffs, just doing it all. And, you know, Josh, for the Highliners, not only does this really kind of hurt them from a game perspective, but the mental aspect of it, too, to see a team leader like that go down is always very difficult as well. And, folks, while we await this to see what happens down on the field, we would like to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathleticClub.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member, and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon Athletics to a higher level. And now, folks, a fantastic sight to see as Tate Suffolk is up and moving. He is walking off with some assistance, but he is walking out. It looks to be an upper body injury, I believe. Don't want to speculate, though. Just hope that he is okay and hope he can return at some point. Down for a while, looks to be in a good deal of pain, so, you know, would not hold out much hope coming back tonight. But maybe, you know, some point this season, hopefully it's nothing too long-term.
Mm-hmm. And with the Shanley team, they have to be feeling for the Valley City team right now, especially with the injuries that they felt. They know what that's like, and they know the pain that can go through watching a teammate go down and not being able to do anything about that.
Absolutely, Josh. You know, the Deacons are down there saying, hey, we've been there before. Their starting quarterback, Caden Kuhneman, went down in a game against Watford City a couple of weeks ago. They know exactly what it's like to lose their starting quarterback and a team leader like Suffolk. So both teams affected by injuries this season, and you see Valley City taking one right here tonight. So now a timeout on the field as the Highliners are likely trying to regroup, or excuse me, they ran off the clock there. There were 8 seconds left. There was a runoff, and that brings us to the second quarter. That makes a little more sense now. But the Highliners got to be happy to get this break in play, Josh. You know, when you lose your starting QB, that's going to affect your game plan more than a little bit. You got to really adjust a lot of things, and so having this break here between plays has got to be huge for the Highliners.
It is, and even more so for Valley City, because we've seen almost their whole offense run through them. All the pass plays, almost all the run plays, going through him, lots of QB draws, a lot of quick passes, lots of rollouts, and it's all been through Suffolk.
Right, Josh. Such an important piece on this Highliner team. The good news is they do have a couple of other guys who have played some QB this season. Some of the names that come to mind, well, really, the big name that comes to mind is Sam Byerly. He's had a lot of experience at quarterback, the junior, and it would not shock me at all if he's the guy who gets the call here. And you know what? I do think that's the case, as number 10, Sam Byerly, looks to be standing right where the QB should be. So we left off with 3rd and 8. And so it's going to be a tough 3rd down to convert here, as Valley City is, of course, without Tate Suffolcool. In good hands, though, under the leadership of Sam Byerly. Let's see what the Highliners do. A pass play, perhaps, with a cold quarterback. Always dangerous, but could pay off. It's 3rd and 8, so you got to get a lot of yards. Shotgun formation, bit of misdirection, a handoff going nowhere. A great job able to turn it upfield that time was Drew Zahn. He was met immediately in the backfield, had to weave in and out, was able to get back to the line of scrimmage and then maybe get a yard or two, but still that'll bring up 4th down.
And we're seeing a little bit of trickery from Valley City. The ability to show that we're not just going to run the ball traditionally. We're going to pull some reverses. We're going to make some cuts. We're going to do some random stuff to try to throw off the Shanley defense.
And as the Highliners line up to punt, want to give a quick shout out to Kathleen Sorensen watching from Missoula, Montana. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thanks for getting in contact with us. And so, shout out. Fun to see people from watching. Always fun to see people out of state from different areas. And folks, if you want to get in contact with us, just hit us up on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll try to give you a shout out on air.
Did you say Montana, Jed?
I did, Josh.
That is impressive. I give them props for following it all the way out there.
Absolutely fun to see people tuning in from all over. And now, if you want to see something fun, here comes Cade Busick and the Shanley offense. They are ready to go once again. Already scored 3 touchdowns, and we are just starting the 2nd quarter here.
And this is what we've been seeing them come out all game. You have trips to one side, single wide receiver to another. It really allows them to do most anything.
Busick fakes the pitch, fires one over the center of the field, and again, it's just a little too much for Cam Seville. Man, Josh, if Busick can just rein that in a little bit, he has got Cam Seville getting open time and time again.
You're very right when you say that. But then I also know that the Shanley coaches, they're going to keep throwing the ball downfield. We've already seen 5 or 6 times where it's been a huck down the field. And we know that it's going to keep coming and that they're going to get completions through that.
And you'll notice, we've got 11:06 left to go here in the 2nd quarter. It's a slow-moving game. Not surprising considering both these teams like to air the ball out so much. And now you see a run not going anywhere for Shanley. A fantastic stop for the Highliners. And folks, another update from AA action with 4:03 left in the first half. Watford City is leading St. Mary's 12-3. And Josh, how about that? What a statement right now from Watford City.
And that is huge because Watford City, they were looking at coming in as maybe the number 4 or 5 seed in the conference for playoffs. With this win, you could see them moving up to 3 or possibly even maybe 2.
Potentially, Josh. Watford City is kind of on the bubble right now, but a win over St. Mary's would be a step in the right direction as Busick hits Seville. It was a little high, but it's hard to go too high for a 6'5" receiver as Cam Seville brings that one in and runs it out for the first down.
And that's the benefit of just having that natural athletic ability from Cam Seville. You see the play fake, and then he gets it right over the linebacker, and Cam Seville's able to bring that down.
So now it's a fresh set of downs for the Deacons at their own 40-yard line. I formation, don't see too much of this from Shanley, but they will go up the gut with Cole Fredericks, and he's going to bring that out. Good for a gain of 7 or 8. Hold on, he pushed that one way out, almost to the first down marker.
And Fredericks is one of those guys who's always going to keep fighting. You saw that he got met maybe 5 or 6 yards past the line of scrimmage, but then he pushed his way, almost getting a first down with that.
And another shout out here, again from Missoula, Montana, to Mike Rooney, Shanley class of 1956. Watching from Missoula, like I said, so great to see you're tuning in, Mike. Happy to have you watching. And folks, once again, if you want a shout out, just get in contact with us and we will try to get you one on air. as that pass is too tall again. So 9:31 left to go here in the second quarter. And Josh, you know, we've seen some uncharacteristic struggles here in Shanley's passing game. You know, we've seen a lot of good opportunities that they aren't able to capitalize on. What do you think the reason for that might be here tonight?
I don't know if it's so much to classify down to one reason. It's more so in high school football, it's very hard to be a good passing team consistently, Jed. In and out every week to be able to pass the ball very well. But what we are seeing is a good run game. And with that good run game, it allows the Shanley offense to keep moving forward while still being able to take those shots.
On 3rd and 1 there, you saw a hand go up and disrupt that pass. It looked to be a screenplay out to Buckles that did not work out, obviously, because of the tip ball. Saw Valley City getting fired up there. They're going to have to make another stop, though, as Shanley is going for it here at about their own 48 with 4th and 1. Busick on the QB keeper. He is easily to that first down marker. And Cade Busick doing things with his legs.
And, you know, Jed, going back to that point a little bit about the passing struggles, so many people often watch the NFL and college football, and they watch these beautiful throws and routes being thrown. And the thing about that is those are some of the best athletes in the United States, and then they practice those routes and those passes for hours and hours and hours. In high school football, it's much harder to just have that repertoire with everybody and that physical ability.
Absolutely, Josh. High school football just a lot harder. Passing game very complex at all levels. And folks, another update in AA action. Jamestown is leading Wahpeton 14-0 at halftime. Jamestown, of course, started the season off on this field, suffered a heartbreaking 14-7 loss as Shanley survived a fierce comeback in the 4th quarter. But Jamestown, after losses to both Shanley and St. Mary's, they are rolling right now, 4-2 coming into this game tonight, and they're looking to make it 5-2 against Wahpeton, who is no pushover, that's for sure. Handoff up the gut to Manuel. How about this from Austin Manuel? Churning his legs and falling down for a gain of about 8 yards. A fantastic, just hard-nosed run there that time from the fullback Manuel.
And what we saw the previous play before that, we saw Busick put on a perfect pass to Campsville, and Campsville drop it across the middle of the field. And it's like we were talking about with being able to pass the ball consistently in high school football.
They go with another run to Manuel, and he is there for the first down on 3rd and 2. So Shanley continues to move the ball at will against these Highliners.
Especially through running the ball, Jed.
Yeah, Josh, you know, Shanley's a team that's typically defined by their passing prowess, but tonight it has been all on the ground for the most part, and they've done a great job running this ball. Busick in shotgun, play action pass, he's got McKeever downfield, and how about that for redemption? Jake McKeever had a drop early on, but I think that makes up for it and more as McKeever goes airborne and brings it in.
And that was almost a little bit of a circus catch a little bit. You see Busick take the snap right here, and then Jacob McKeever running down the field, and then watch this. He almost catches it over his man and then is able to bring it in.
Absolutely stunning catch there from Jake McKeever. Makes a fantastic grab over his defender. Shanley really rolling right now. Just when we were talking about the pass game struggles, Jake McKeever and Cade Busick hook up for a huge gain. Another shout out here to Holy Spirit Principal, Mr. Cotterba. Thank you for tuning in. So great to see that. So many members of this Shanley community tuning in, whether it be alumni, whether it be staff. It's just a lot of fun to see that. Trips right, flanker left. Cade Busick in shotgun. He's going to fake the handoff, and he's going to go in untouched into the end zone. Cade Busick just having a fantastic game here on the ground.
And you saw everybody just bit on the fake to Austin Manuel there. Everybody was focused on him from his 2 previous runs on this drive, and then Busick was just able to take it and run in with it.
And that's exactly what Shanley likes to do, Josh. They like to set teams up. They like to, do things like that with Austin Manuel. Just feed the ball to Manuel over and over. You get Valley City thinking about him, and then all of a sudden you pull out the fake, and Busick is able to capitalize on Valley City, thinking the ball was going to Manuel there.
Looks like it's a false start, Jed. Going to push it back. And in high school, kicking 5 yards back makes a big difference, even when it's still this close to the net.
Absolutely, Josh. 5 yards can be a very big difference here. And so now Machenbacher with a tougher kick, certainly in his range though. Manuel snaps, Clark holds, Machenbacher's kick is up, and 5 yards doesn't matter to Matt Machenbacher. He drills that one and makes it 28-6.
No worries, he's got it on lockdown in the middle linebacker position and the kicking game.
So now 8 minutes left to go here in this second quarter, and Josh, it has just been all Shanley since a great opening play from Valley City. Shanley has just kind of dominated on both sides of the ball. We've seen flashes from the Highliners, but nothing consistent. We've seen them bring up fourth down multiple times, but Shanley's been able to convert in those fourth down situations. Valley City's kind of doing everything they can, but it just doesn't seem to be enough against an overwhelming Deacon attack.
And that's what we've seen from teams all throughout the year. They're able to put up a good fight against Shanley, but Shanley, with their speed and their power combined over 4 quarters, just breaks teams down.
So Cody Malish out to kick this ball off once again. Valley City going to get it back with 8 minutes to go, and neither team has been taking much time off the clock as they've been passing a lot. And it's a low drive. It's going to be fielded by Zeltinger at around his 10-yard line. He brings it up the center and is then brought down right around the 25. So Valley City now going to go to work here. And it'll be, once again, the backup quarterback, Sam Byerly. Did a nice job filling in. It was brief, but as we know, he has experience at the QB position.
And that's the thing. Like you said, we haven't seen too much from him yet this game. And so it'll be interesting to see this drive, how he fits into his position.
Well, folks, we've given shout-outs to staff of the JP2 Schools Network, to alumni of Shanley, and now to a current student at Shanley. Shout-out to Josh Ward tuning in from the car. Josh, great to have you watching. 7:45 and counting left to go here as the Deacons continue to hold that 22-point lead. Valley City looking to get some life here with a backup quarterback leading the way.
And on that previous play, you saw the running back just slip, and unfortunately, it's one of those tough mistakes that you just can't have during a game. It sets you behind in the downs, but now you just got to move forward.
Right, always tough to have a mistake like that. You're down big, you're trying to get something going, and, just kind of self-inflicted wounds are always tough to stomach. Luther Zeltinger, he was wrapped up by Joe Cava in the backfield at first. He tried to evade Cava, but he was slowed down, and that allowed the rest of the Deacon defense to get in there and finish the job.
Looks as if we have a flag on the play.
And that does appear to be the case, Josh. Let's see what this call is. I didn't see anything, but obviously the referees are watching for a lot different stuff than we are. So let's see what they got. And it appears to be a false start going against the Highliners. So it was already a great play for the Deacons, but a false start will be declined, yeah, as you were going to say there, Josh. So Shanley opts to just allow the loss of down there and the loss of yardage. It really only would have been 2 more yards lost as opposed to what happened on that play. So now Valley City facing 3rd and 13 with 7:07 left to go in the first half.
Expect blitz from Shanley and trying to get a longer pass from Valley City on this play. That's what I would be thinking. Shanley's shown blitz all game. Most likely come out with that.
Absolutely, Josh. I think that's a safe bet here. It's a snap directly to Zeltinger, and he's going to have to turn it upfield on a bit of a botched play, and he barely gets to the original line of scrimmage So that's going to bring up 4th and 10, and that will bring up a punt for Valley City as they are deep in their own territory with a long way to go to the first down marker. And folks, don't forget that you can connect with Shanley TV on social media. Get the latest updates about Shanley sports teams, plus reminders about upcoming broadcasts. Like our Facebook page today at facebook.com/ShanleyTV. Follow us on Twitter at ShanleyTV, and now you can follow us on Instagram at ShanleyTV. So Shanley with excellent field position once again here after that punt, not going the way that Valley City would have liked. And the Deacons have a short field and a lot of clock left with 6:04 to go in the second.
Only having a net punt about 15 yards. And that's one of those things. It just shortens the field for your defense. It makes it a lot tougher to get a true stop on the Shanley offense.
So the Deacons come out with Busick in shotgun and Haley Buckles joining him in the backfield. Busick hands it off to Buckles. Buckles up the middle, has some space. Shoestring tackle is going to hold him just short of the first down marker. And on the stop, I believe that is Riley Gerhardt.
And we've seen from Buckles beforehand that he was a running back, and he's been transitioned to more of a wide receiver in this year. But he's shown the ability to be a very good running back.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Last year, Haley Buckles split his time, but for the most part, got most of his reps from that running back position. This year, he's been put into a receiver role, as you said. But look at this, a carry on the outside. Haley Buckles has space, and he'll make it into the end zone. So a fantastic run from Buckles, and hey, maybe the Deacons will consider putting him back at running back after that.
And you see, now everybody's focused on Busick, Jed. And now Haley just has green space all the way down the field, is able to outrun Valley City, dance along the sideline, and get that touchdown.
And Josh, one thing to notice there on that replay, obviously you're going to watch Haley Buckles with a beautiful run, but Cam Seville, he had the opportunity to throw the block there on the would-be tackler Peyton Zahn, but he made an extremely smart play for a guy playing his first year of football in a long time. If he went for the block there, that would have almost certainly been a flag for a block in the back, would have negated a touchdown run. So Cam Seville opts to just back off and let Haley Buckles try to evade the tackler instead of costing his team with a huge penalty. That is just a really smart move, especially when you consider that Cam Seville is just playing football for the first time in a long time.
And another thing with that, before he decided to not make that block in the back, he was making a very good physical block in the open field. Those open field blocks are almost like open field tackles. They're very hard to make. They're very hard to do correctly. And you saw how much space Haley Buckles had, and that's from Cam Seville being able to make a good open field block for a long time.
So Seville, not only their leading receiver, but also showing off prowess when it comes to blocking downfield. And Josh, that touchdown took only 39 seconds off the clock, I believe, as Shanley had just about 6 minutes on the clock when they went to work. So how about the efficiency here from the Deacons? Squib kick is going to be fielded at the Valley City 28-yard line. And a shout out to Stacy Bossert watching at home. So great to hear you're tuning in, Stacy. Folks, once again, if you're watching, be sure to get in contact with us. We'll try to give you a shout out. Always a pleasure to acknowledge our viewers. So thankful for you guys for tuning in, obviously.
And this is why we do this. As much as I like to hear myself talk, I wouldn't do all of this, and we wouldn't have the whole support team that we had if it wasn't for you guys listening and watching.
Absolutely. The most important members of Shanley TV are the folks watching at home. And look at this, the backup quarterback doing work there. Sam Byerly just takes off and runs with it. That's something Tate Suffolcool was a little hesitant to do. He was a bit more of the traditional passer. Didn't really run the ball upfield much. He did on some design plays, but he didn't like to, when the pressure came, like to get rid of it. So a bit of a different approach here from Sam Byerly. Not necessarily better or worse, but, different, something different for Shanley to have to deal with here. Doubles formation, Byerly in shotgun. He steps up. It's a designed run. It is not going far, though. Matt Machenbacher and Austin Manuel, the two middle linebackers, clamp down hard.
And that was one of the most interesting things I've seen. Cole Fredericks, before the play started, Jed, he recognized that it was a 3rd and short situation, and this must be something that the Shanley coaches designed. He goes into a nose guard position right over the center, lining up, probably hoping to stop the run and being able to slip in there and make a tackle.
Absolutely, Josh. Nice observation there, is you're not going to see a smaller outside linebacker like Cole Fredericks, at that nose guard spot too often. Byerly has to roll out, stepping up. He's going to get the corner and a little bit more here on 3rd down. Byerly out at around the 46-yard line. And so a fantastic gain there for the Highliners, showing a little life on offense.
And there's the thing, Jed. Shanley, they like to blitz, they like to play man-to-man coverage, and what happens when you're playing man-to-man coverage and you're blitzing and the QB gets free? Nobody's on the QB. Nobody's covering him. And that's what Valley City is exploiting right now. They're able to make those runs to the outside because just nobody is covering the QB.
Right, Josh. Like I said earlier, pocket passer approach was Tate Suffolcool, but now Byerly going with that scrambling look, and that time Byerly is on a designed run and not going too far. So Shanley's defense, they've been tested a bit more on this drive, but they're still looking pretty strong, making it 2nd and 13 here. Four minutes and counting left to go in this first half. Highliners, again, having a lot more success here on this drive than previous ones. And now Zeltinger is going to take the snap, and just as I boast about the success of the Highliners, the Deacons come in and make me eat my words. As, boy, Shanley just swarmed to Luther Zeltinger there.
And you see the Shanley defense just really collapsing on the middle of that Valley City offensive line, just destroying the middle and then allowing their backers to come through and make plays.
So 3rd and 14 now. Highliners in a very tough spot. Got to imagine they're going to be passing the ball here in a 3rd and long situation.
And got to watch for the scramble, Jed. Like we've seen in the previous downs, you got to watch for the scramble.
Absolutely. Byerly has been able to pick up large chunks of yardage. Here comes that 3rd down blitz. Byerly looking calm as he rolls out. Flag down in the backfield. Fires one just short for Zeltinger. We got a whole bunch of flags flying out there. Hold on, folks.
Wow, that is more laundry than I produce in 2 weeks, Jed. That is a lot on the field.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Josh. Absolutely. We had one down in the backfield. Then we saw one go down downfield in the direction where that ball went. Then about 3 others came flying in. So just kind of crazy situation down there. Let's see what these calls are. So a hold is the initial flag. That's not a surprise, as Byerly was rolling out there. And then I think we had pass interference going against Shanley.
Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but these penalties should negate each other, and we're just going to get another crack at 3rd down.
That is correct. When you have penalties by both the offense and the defense on the same play, they just offset each other, and then the play or the down is replayed.
All right, so Valley City happy to get this down replayed here. 3rd and 14. Byerly did a nice job staying calm when the pressure came. Now the Deacons don't blitz, but they don't have to, as Caleb Chrisman comes in. He knocked that ball out. Couldn't get on top of it, but it doesn't matter as he gets the sack. Look at how he sheds his block there. Riley Gerhart just gets really blown by Caleb Chrisman. Not much more you can say there. It's an excellent move to the inside by Chrisman.
And that's not speed or power, which Chrisman has. That's just technique. He recognizes what the offensive person has been doing, and then he just shucks past him and is able to make the strip sack.
So 2:18 to go as The Valley City punts here on 4th down. Tom Erie with a little stutter step, bringing it up the near side. Erie's still going, and he's going to be dragged down finally by Luther Zeltinger. Never quite brought him to the ground, but forced him out of bounds. And Tom Erie has been waiting for that return for a long time in this game.
That he has. He's been shown to have the speed to be able to break it to the outside, as we watch here.
You know, every return he's had on these punts, they've been good, but they've only been about 10 or 15 yards. You can tell he's just been waiting to really, truly break one. He doesn't find pay dirt like I'm sure he's hoping, but he does bring it way upfield, and you see that speed. Tom Erie, if he's got space, almost impossible to catch. You see there, Luther Zelting couldn't quite tackle him, just had to force him out by the jersey. 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Busick firing a bullet over the middle of the field, and he's got a man. That time, I believe it's Cam Seville.
And that's what we didn't see at the start of the game. They were trying to do that, but they weren't able to. You saw Busick look off the shallow pass, and then you see him go over the middle of the field, being able to make that, and Seville making that catch.
So now 1st down and goal, about 9 yards away from the end zone. 1:50 and counting left to go. Plenty of time for the Deacons to work with. Busick motioning something to both sides, but now we got a timeout called as there's clearly some confusion down on the field. And Josh, I'm not sure what happened there. Clearly Busick didn't like something. Saw something off with his offense there, tried to reset him, and a timeout just had to be called as there was too much confusion down there for Shanley.
Sometimes you just see something as a QB, you try to check out of it, and then that's another thing in high school. It's very hard to run checks because, again, the amount of practice, the amount of hours that have gone into learning the playbook and having those checks. It's more about the fundamentals in high school and not so much the ability to be able to check out of things. It's a great added bonus, but sometimes it doesn't go your way and you have to take a timeout.
So folks, as excuse me, as we have a little stoppage in play here, give you another update from AA football across the state. With 8:12 left to go in the 3rd quarter, Jamestown is beating Wahpeton 20-0. So after that timeout, the Deacons hope to have things squared away. Doubles formation. Fredericks will join Busick in the backfield. Again, 1st and goal for Shanley after a big completion to Cam Seville. Busick going to drop back to pass, had a man open. Instead, he's going to Seville in the corner, and that one in and out a little bit in front of Seville. It looked like he might have it, but it goes off his fingertips. And Josh, how often have we seen that play run by the Deacons, that corner route with Cam Seville? You see that at least once a game with Shanley, it seems.
You do. You see the shots downfield at Seville and McKeever, but then also once you get in the end zone or the red zone area, you see the back corner throw to Seville because he's got that height. He's 6'5". He's got those basketball skills, and he's able to bring them down.
So another try here for the Deacons. Busick fakes the handoff, brings it up the middle of the field, and is wrapped up and brought down for a gain of 3 or 4. And folks, real quick, another shout out here to Larry Astrup. Thank you so much for tuning in, Larry. Great to hear that. And again, folks, if you're watching, get in contact with us. We'll give you a shout out. We love to hear it. Time winding down, 1:12 left to go here in the 2nd quarter. The Deacons facing 3rd and goal, about 6 yards away from the end zone. Shanley doing the smart thing here, just letting the clock wind down. If you do give the ball back to Valley City, don't want to leave them a lot of time. And Busick again is stuffed up the middle by the Highliners. So now Shanley has got one more crack at the end zone. We'll see if they bring on the field goal team or if they keep the offense out there. And you know what, Josh? It looks like the offense is staying out for now.
And I like this decision. Like we were saying, they're able to go, or they're willing to go, or go on 4th down on almost anywhere on the field. 4th and 4, 4th and 5, next end zone, I say go for it. Keep the pressure on and show that you're willing to score at the end of this half.
Yeah, why not? And honestly, Josh, it looks like they're just going to let this clock wind down and take a timeout, and that is the case. Coach Mattern calls timeout with just 1 second left on the play clock. He bleeds the game clock all the way down to just 13 seconds in the half. Smart decision. Obviously, one more play to go here. Don't want to give the ball back with any time, really. So, Josh, what do you think we see from Shanley here? 4th and goal, one more play.
If I'm thinking, and I'm the Shanley coaches, if it doesn't matter with the time situation at all, and then you know what, I would be going QB run. It wasn't successful in these past 2 times, but what I'm thinking is if they have the ability to do almost a QB draw type play to the outside and make that happen, I think that's what's going to be successful for them.
All right, well, let's see if that's the case. Quick reminder, folks, it is elementary night tonight. So at halftime, be sure to stay tuned and watch some fun elementary school kid activities going on down there. Some elementary students from the John Paul II Catholic Schools Network will be out there having a good time playing a little touch football. Be sure to stay tuned. That should be entertaining. So back to the game at hand, 4th and goal, 4 yards away from the end zone. Trips left, flanker right. Busick rolls out to his right, has a man, fires, and it's caught for the touchdown. Jake McKeever.
You know, I was partially right, kind of. He rolled out slightly. It looked like he could have run in for the touchdown, Jed.
I suppose he did move his legs, Josh. That is something.
I think I get like half credit for predicting that. Like,
Why not?
Like
Why not?
half a point?
So that leaves Valley City with just 9 seconds and not much time to work with here as Shanley will attempt the PAT. And we'll give another shout out here to Catherine Gladich watching from Augustana in Sioux Falls. Catherine, thank you for tuning in. Another Shanley alumni from just a few years ago. Great to hear that you're watching. So, like we said, just 9 seconds. Shanley likely going to squib one up the middle. That'll probably leave the Highliners with time to run one play, and that should take us to half. And, Josh, what a dominant first half here from the Deacons.
Very much so. And even so, we haven't seen them as dominant as they've always been in some games. You know, we've seen some missed passes, some missed runs, some missed tackles, that one blown coverage at the start of the game. I don't think we're seeing the best Shanley Deacons right now. From what I've seen, I think we're seeing a very good team, but I don't think they're playing up to the level that they can, Jed.
Yeah, Josh, you know, I think part of that could be that slump from the St. Mary's game last week. You know, oftentimes when you play a big game like that, the next week you're a bit more drained than usual. You know, would not surprise me at all if that's the case. Probably a big contributing factor. Got to give credit where credit's due, though. Valley City, you know, the score is rough for them right now, down 42-6, but they have really put up a good fight. We've seen them make some good stops on defense. They've put Shanley in a lot of 3rd and 4th down situations. Now, the Deacons have done an excellent job of converting those, but Valley City is just really making Shanley work for everything they're getting right now, and I think in turn forcing a lot of these kind of mental errors on the Deacons.
And that's the thing, like you were saying, it's the 3rd and 4th downs where it really comes down to it. Shanley, for the most part, has shown that they're able to convert on those, but even still, credit to Valley City to show that, you know what, we're going to keep fighting and we're going to keep going.
So 8 seconds left to go after the squib up the middle. Valley City's got the ball at the 31. It would not shock me if we just see a handoff here. The Highliners go with the safe play, don't want to risk, you know, interception going back to the house or anything like that, but we'll see. They have been aggressive so far. This time, though, it'll be a run for Byerly up the middle, and that will do it for the first half of action. The clock winds down, the horn sounds, and the Deacons go into the locker room up 42-6. So, Josh, before we go to break, your impressions of this first half?
I'll look for the Shanley coaches to be on the Shanley team to come out firing in the 3rd half. Like I was saying, not living up to full expectations. Personally, my thoughts. For Valley City, look for them just to be able just to come right into the second half and keep building on what they've been doing and try to make some big plays again.
All right, so both teams headed into halftime. Both are going to make some adjustments, obviously, different situations for both squads. It'll be interesting to see what they bring to the table in the second half. For now, folks, we're going to go to break, but stay tuned. It's elementary night down on the field, and we'll try to bring you some of the festivities down there. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. We're getting ready for the second half of play here between the Shanley Deacons and the Valley City Highliners. But before we get back to this game, we do want to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathletic.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button, or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member, and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. Well, folks, we're just about ready to start off this second half of play between Shanley and Valley City. It was an exciting start to this one as the Highliners struck first, going up 6-0 on a big-time passing play. Since then, though, Josh, it has been all Shanley. And if you're Valley City headed into this second half, you know, what's the plan here down big?
I think the plan is just to play a little bit more consistently. Like we were saying, we saw a little bit of their ability to make the plays on the Shanley offense and defense. We saw the big play there, but then also we saw some nice scrambles, some nice runs throughout the game, and being able to do that, I think to do that consistently is their key goal right now.
Absolutely, Josh. I agree with that assessment. I don't think we're going to see a big overhaul in Valley City's game plan. I think, like you said, we're just going to see them try to go for some more consistency here and, you know, just try to stick with what they've been doing and just kind of refine their execution. You know, just keep working with it until something works. You know what I'm saying?
You know, and for Shanley, what I think they're going to do is almost the same thing that Valley City is doing, and that's tighten up their execution. We saw overthrown balls, drop balls, run plays that were stuffed once or twice, missing the hole where it should be, making that bigger cut, not being able to get to that second level. I think that's what we're going to be seeing from Shanley, and then most likely eventually getting some of those younger players in and getting them some experience.
And Josh, one thing we touched on in pregame, so Trevor Yagi, the left tackle, is out with a concussion. Big blow to the Deacons, but they do have good depth on the line. We thought it was going to be the freshman Simon Bowden in there. It has been sophomore Evan Bubak instead. And for those of you who have been following Shanley football for a while, you may remember his brother Aaron Bubak, very good lineman for the Deacons from before, you know, Shanley TV was even around. But Bubak has done a great job, I think, tonight, filled in really well, especially at the all-important left tackle position.
That blind side, it's always scary for a QB dropping back if you're unsure of your left tackle because they have the most important job in pass protection, and that's keeping off the defensive end on the blind side because the QB, in almost all cases, is not aware and is not able to see that side of the field. And so with that, when the QB doesn't trust his left tackle, it creates some major confidence issues and can lead to more just pressured plays.
Absolutely, Josh. But, you know, I do not think Evan Bubak has given Cade Busick anything to worry about tonight. He has looked solid on the left side of that line, looking pretty strong right now for Shanley. So just a couple of seconds left to go before we get the second half of action underway. As we said, the Deacons in a commanding lead, up 42-6. Valley City, meanwhile, nice start to the game. They're just going to try to come back, and like we said, don't think they're going to change things up too much. Just come out, stick to the game plan, and just keep working, keep grinding against these Deacons and try to just wear them down. As you said, Josh, we might get to see some of those younger kids come in for the Deacons. You know, already a lot of them have had a lot of experience this season because of those injuries. You know, it's been a lot of unplanned experience. But guys like Matt Machenbacher, guys like Evan Bubak, who get to play a couple games in place of an injured player, that experience is going to pay off down the line. It's just going to be so huge because nothing beats playing in not only a real game situation, but a close game. You know, playing when the minutes are the most important, playing in those big pressure situations. You know, all these younger guys stepping in for injured Shanley players. Really, I think it's going to pay off in spades down the road.
And we've seen that year in, year through, because there's always injuries when it comes to playoff times. There's always injuries in the semifinals and the championship game. You know, Shanley, they expect to get to those semifinals and the championship game. They expect to be in that position in early November. And what they're going to need is they're going to need their depth from their younger players willing and able to step up to be able to have successful performance in early November.
Right, depth has been the key word. Shanley's has been second to none this year. So the Highliners receive the ball to start this game off, so they're kicking it away right now. It's a low squib up the middle, bounces over Wasik's head, and is finally fielded by Erie, who's had a couple of nice returns on punts today. And Erie will be brought down at about the 35-yard line, so the Deacon offense goes to work from there.
Zeltinger on the stop for the Highliners.
Zeltinger made the tackle there for Valley City. And Josh, what a job Shanley has done in bottling up Luther Zeltinger. You know, he was arguably maybe Valley City's most important player coming into tonight, and he has just really been, in essence, shut down by Shanley.
And that's what the Shanley coaches are able to do. They're able to game plan, focus on what players they need to focus on, and from there really start with them and then shut down the rest of the offense. That's how they like to run their defense, focus on key players, and then move on to the rest of the offense from there.
Right, you know, take the head off, and then the body will go with it. That's exactly right, Josh. And there you see Valley City, nice start to the second half. They bottle Cole Fredericks up right away. You know, we talked about Fredericks in pregame, thought he was going to have a pretty big game. He has, but not in the sense that we expected. We thought we were going to see him on pitches to the outside, you know, a lot of those outside perimeter plays to try to use his speed. For the most part, Josh, Cole Fredericks has been pounding this ball up the gut, and it's worked fantastic.
Yeah, well, like you're saying, Jed, he just ran the ball up the middle, got the first down, was able to power through and fight for those yards. He's one of those backs, not the biggest, but he always fights for those extra yards.
Yeah, he plays a lot more confident than I think you'd expect for a player his size. He's not afraid to take on anyone, and it's true on defense, too. As you pointed out earlier, he lined up at nose tackle for one play. That is guts.
And that's the thing. When you're facing guys that are just huge on the line and you don't have any experience there beforehand, it takes a lot. And being willing and stepping up and saying, okay, coach, I'm going to do this. You want me to do this? I'll do this. It's scary, but I'll do this.
Absolutely, Josh. I think fearless would be the word to describe Cole Fredericks, Cole Fredericks with tonight.
And again, right now, what we're seeing, it's now third down for Shanley. Like we've been saying, Valley City has been able to hold Shanley to these third and fourth downs. But when it's truly mattered, Shanley's been able to convert. And so with that, for Valley City to start making an impact on this game, they're going to need to be able to hold the Shanley Deacons during these downs.
And folks, another update from that St. Mary's Watford City game. Watford City now leads Bismarck St. Mary's 18-3 with just 9 minutes left in the third quarter. And now for those of you who followed Shanley's game against St. Mary's last week, you know their starting quarterback Cole Gendrew went out with injury. But as it stands right now, it appears that Cole Gendrew is playing for St. Mary's. So they're down 15 right now, even with their starting QB in. And Josh, how about that for a shocking score out west? You know, Watford City, they were beat by these Deacons 25-0. You know, handled them pretty well early in the season, and they're up 18-3 over St. Mary's. Who would have expected that?
Well, Shanley, they were able to come into St. Mary's and show a successful game plan playing against them. It worked. There was a couple of broken plays by the Shanley Deacons, but for the most part, they looked pretty successful playing St. Mary's. So you have to wonder, did Watford City coaches watch that film, watch where St. Mary's was exposed and how you could expose them? And then from there, St. Mary's needing to be able to bounce back and having their confidence shaken.
Absolutely, Josh. As you said there, did Shanley kind of expose the Saints last week? I guess we'll find out. You know, obviously there's a lot of time left in that game. That's going to be big for seeding if St. Mary's drops that game and picks up their second loss of the year. Busick in shotgun, hands it off up the middle to Fredericks. Fredericks sidesteps and is brought down for a gain of 8 or 9.
Just see that quick shiftiness. Oftentimes when you're running in the middle, you got to barrel over the backers. but this time just able to take those little side steps and then able to get a decent gain for second down.
And an update from that Jamestown-Wahpeton game. Jamestown leads Wahpeton 35-8 with just 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So Jamestown taking care of business against a pretty strong Wahpeton team. Busick fires out to Seville in the flat. Cam Seville trying to turn the corner, and he will. Seville off to the races and into the end zone. And Josh, what can't Cam Seville do? Whether he's using that height to grab balls, whether he's using those great hands to make absurd catches, or whether he's using his speed here, Cam Seville does it all.
And also off the field, he was homecoming king for Shanley a couple weeks ago. Like you were saying, Jed, what can he do? He was homecoming king. He's scoring touchdowns left and right. Like, the man's a beast.
It's good to be Cam Seville, Josh. Absolutely. Machenbacher kicks this one up through the uprights, 49-6 in favor of the Deacons. Shanley just rolling right now, and Valley City does not have an answer.
And you see Shanley taking a lot of time off the clock on that possession. Right now it's 6:43. That was their first possession, and they were just able to run the ball down the field in short increments. That drains the clock. And so now it's midway through the third quarter, and Valley City is touching the ball for the first time.
Yeah, Josh, that's huge for Shanley, that time of possession battle. They're doing a great job with it right now. You know, in the first half, they really didn't care too much about it. They were scoring in under a minute on some drives. But now, like you said, they've got a comfortable lead. They're looking to just kind of hold on to it, and they're doing a great job with clock management. Cody Malish lining up for this kickoff. He's had an excellent night kicking off, even with some decent winds blowing across the field. And Malish has been great on kickoffs all season for the Deacons. You know, kicker was a question mark position after two-year starter Jake Reinholtz left to go kick for North Dakota State. But with Matt Machenbacher doing field goals and PATs, Cody Malish doing kickoffs, Shanley's looking good. When Jake Cava got injured in regards to special teams here, Shanley did lose their punter, as Jake Cava is the starting punter for the Deacons. But you know, Josh, that is not something we have seen Shanley have to deal with tonight, as I don't believe the Deacons have punted the ball once this evening.
I think you're right when you say that, Jed, and I guess I'm thinking about that for the first time now. Like, he is their starting punter, and that's one of those things where they've depended on him for almost 3 to 4 years to punt the ball. And so, well, if you don't need to punt the ball, then the problem isn't there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's one way to solve an injured punter. It's a great way to do it as well. And so now a flag down on the field. Let's see what this is for. I think it's going against Valley City for a false start. Just wait for the official signal here. And yes, that appears to be the case. Valley City picks up the false start, and we've seen a couple of those for the Highliners here tonight, Josh.
And, you know, it could be nerve-wracking at that line, especially when you've let a lot of pressure through, that the Shanley defensive line and backers are rolling. You want to be able to get that jump on the ball. And then when you start seeing the defensive line just move slightly, get those twitches in there, it really shakes you up a little bit.
So now a direct snap to Zeltinger. We've seen them run this play a couple times. It'll work out a bit better as he's able to get back to the original line of scrimmage for a gain of 5.
And, you know, and going back to that play, for the first play of their drive, their first drive in the second half, you don't want to start it off with a false start. We've seen Valley City be able to make some decent runs, but then at the same time, we've seen them not able to convert. And so when you're put in a hole like 1st and 15, it really does hurt your chances to be able to convert.
And that is not what you want to see for Valley City. A huge contributor, Riley Gerhardt, is going off with an injury. Not only is he pivotal in that offensive line, but he is also a starting linebacker for them, and he's made a bunch of key stops here tonight. So that's a tough break for the Highliners. And Gerhardt leads this Valley City team with 57 tackles this season. So that just goes to show the impact that he has had on the Highliners defense. Misdirection run up the near side, a nice little gain this time. And on the carry, That's Noah Plagans. So Valley City puts themselves in a much more manageable situation here. It looks to be 3rd and 2.
And seeing that play, the Valley City runner, he almost had 3 blockers just going out ahead of him, like 2 linemen and a tight end. That's what you want to see if you're a runner. You don't want to see the defensive players. You want to see your blockers.
Snap directly going to be carried by Scuffield, and look at this, returning from injury. He's out for the first down and then some. And look at that, Suffolcool, is back in this game and making a heck of an impact. We saw in his place Sam Byerly. Byerly did an admirable job, but now Suffolcool is back and making his presence known. And Josh, what a job by Valley City. They started this thing off 1st and 15, and they easily picked up that first down.
Able to move the ball, gain some momentum. Really got to enjoy that. Running some plays that they don't normally run, and with that, being able to get the first down.
Zeltinger now carrying this one up for 1 or 2 yards. Not going too far. And you'll notice down there, Shanley has cycled in a lot of those younger players like we talked about.
Just trying to get those guys some experience on defense because, like we said, injuries are going to happen. And so when you get them the ability to play, it just helps everybody.
2nd and 8. Zeltinger going to carry up the near side. He's got some space. Zeltinger throwing the stiff arm, and he's run out of bounds, but not before he can get the first down.
And he's run out of bounds by Andy.
That's Andy Clark, Josh.
Andy Clark. I'm sorry, I blanked on the name, folks. Andy Clark. Andy was a contributor last year for the Shanley Deacons, but with the amount of depth that they've had this year, he's almost been pushed down the depth chart a little bit. Unfortunate for him, but just speaks to the depth of what Shanley had, as he was a starter last year on defense, and a very good one at that.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Not so much about the talent of Clark, more about how deep this Shanley squad is, that he has been in a more reduced role this season. You know, he stepped up for Shanley last year when Tom Erie went down with a foot injury. Andy Clark came in and started at corner and wide receiver for most of the year. This year, haven't seen as much of him. But, boy, Coach Mattern's got to feel good knowing he's got a guy with the kind of experience Clark does, just sitting there waiting for his opportunity.
And that's really what makes Shanley a complete team this year. We've been preaching it all half, but the depth is amazing.
The depth, absolutely, Josh. That's really been their strong suit this season with all those injuries. You know, I think it'd be a very, very different record for the Deacons if they didn't have the kind of depth they did.
And we're seeing on the sideline right now, it looks like the backup center and QB for Shanley are getting warmed up, getting some snaps in, thinking maybe in the next possession that the backups for Shanley might go in.
Yeah, you know, we saw most of the first string out there for Shanley's first possession in the second half, but like you said, Josh, wouldn't surprise me if some younger players rotated in here. And now it's a direct snap to Zeltinger. He'll carry up the near side. Zeltinger powering forward and down for the first down.
And Zeltinger showing how he can run, just running over people and running through tackles, saying that I'm going to keep going through the rest of this game and keep fighting.
Yeah, Luther Zeltinger coming in at 6'2", 170, not the biggest of guys, but he runs hard, and you saw it there. And, folks, we talk about Shanley bringing in their youth here in this second half, but how about Valley City playing a lot of young guys for most of this game? I mean, you look at their starting lineup, and it is full of freshmen and sophomores. I mean, we're talking about guys who in 2-3 years, you know, you wait for these guys to get up to their junior and senior seasons, and you've got to watch out for Valley City. I mean, full seasons starting as 9th and 10th graders. That's experience you can't buy, Josh.
And that's the thing, Jed. I think Valley City maybe has, 20 to 30 people on their team right now? About that. And when you're in that situation, everybody's going both ways. Everybody has to contribute, and everybody is expected to contribute. And from there, when these players mature, they're just that much better because they've been in this position for such a long time. They've already had the experience. They've already had the rough games. They've had to fight through it, and that will benefit them so much, especially in the fourth quarters of some games coming up.
No doubt about it, Josh. And as you talk about the fourth quarter, we get ready to start the fourth quarter here as time expires in the third. Shanley holding a 49-6 lead, but Valley City knocking on the door. They continue to drive down deep into Deacon territory.
And that was a very, very quick third quarter. You saw that one long possession by Shanley at the start of the half, and then Valley City got the ball, and now they're just driving down. We only had 2 possessions, and the second possession hasn't even ended yet. A very quick third quarter.
Stark contrast to quarters number 1 and 2. That's for sure. You know, we saw a lot more of that passing game. And as you know, when teams are passing that ball around, you get a lot more stops in play stops on the clock, because incompletions, of course, do stop the clock, whereas runs, as long as they stay in bounds, keep things moving. So, teams switch fields. You see Shanley holding up those 4s, getting ready for this fourth quarter. And Josh, they have not had trouble with a slump after the big win over St. Mary's, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. You're right when you're saying that, Jed. They looked on point in the run game. A couple things to iron out in the pass game, but those are more things where it could be a problem almost any week and just pop up, and where you just got to be able to address it during the game and move on from there.
And speaking of St. Mary's, folks, after 3 quarters of play, Watford City continues to lead the Saints 18-3. And we will try to keep you updated on that, because that is huge. The St. Mary's Saints kind of on their heels right now after a tough loss to this Deacon team. So something to pay close attention to out west.
And, you know, this is the first year for Troy Mattern, right, Jed? And he wanted to come in here and start a new tradition, a new legacy for the Shanley Deacons. You know, build off the old, but then also start something new. And with his win over St. Mary's, I feel like that really does help cement it a little more of what he's trying to do for this program.
Absolutely. Troy Mattern comes in and accomplishes something the Deacons have been trying to do for a long time, and he does it in his first season. You know, talk about making a statement. Troy Mattern really setting the stage for the rest of his career here with the Deacons, setting a high standard in his first season, that's for sure.
Well, very much. And, you know, that's how he wanted to do it. Obviously, the bigger part is going to come in the playoffs and how they perform in the playoffs and the rest of this regular season. But even still, that was a great starting point.
11:15 left to go in the fourth quarter. 4th and 4. Huge play here for Valley City on this possession, and that snap is fumbled, but it's picked up, fired, and dropped. Oh, man, the Highliners want that one back, that's for sure. Tate Suffolk had a man open. It was Corey Nelson, and Nelson just could not bring that one in.
Suffolk, he bobbled the snap. He dropped on the ground, but he was able to recover. And so with that, he was able to recover, find the open man, but then wide receiver just dropped it. Very unfortunate for Valley City. They had a drive going. But now it looks like it's the Shanley offense getting ready to go.
Yep, Shanley coming out now after the turnover on downs. Jamestown-Wapton game real quick, folks. 35-8 is the final score, so the Blue Jays continue to roll. They're looking strong, headed down the line this season. Back to the game at hand, though. As you said, the Deacons take possession now at their own 17-yard line. It's I formation and a handoff to Kevin Gladich. Gladich gets out for a gain of about 3 yards there off the handoff from Ben Osley.
Got the Shanley backups in now for offense. But then also Kevin Gladich, we gave a couple shout-outs to earlier in the game, some friends and relatives of him.
Right, yeah, so anyone tuning in to see Kevin Gladich play, hey, now is the time. Kevin Gladich in on that carry. And Kevin Gladich, that's a name to watch for in the next few years. You know, we've seen him come in and play in some of these games, and he has just looked really strong. You know, you talk about Kevin Gladich, and one thing you got to talk about is the speed. When he finds open space, he is gone. And you see here, not a lot of open space, but he still rumbles forward out for the first down.
And we usually say that you want a little bit more size for a running back, but you saw right there, he was small enough, able to burst through that hole, avoid the wrapping arms, just duck under a little bit, and then able to pick up that first down.
Absolutely. Kevin Gladich, definitely a player for these Deacons to watch going forward. They do have some really good youth, especially in the backfield. You know, you look at the sophomore Gladich, freshman Carter Kochman, who I'm sure you'll see get a couple carries here. Matt Machenbacher as well. Well, he's already playing, you know, varsity time on defense, but on offense as well, he's a heck of a running back. Handoff now, and I believe this one's to Carter Kochman. Yes, so prediction comes true pretty quick as Kochman carries that one forward for a gain of 8 yards.
So, Jed, are we giving you a full point for your prediction there?
Well, Josh, I'd say it was a little closer than yours in the first half there.
So 3/4 of a point. That's what I'm hearing?
All right, Josh.
Okay, sounds good. Just checking.
8:30 left to go here in the game. 49-6 the lead, and 2nd and 3 after a nice pickup that time by Kochman. You see a quick personnel change for the Deacons. And now they come out in I formation. Osley under center, hands this one off. It's Kochman again on the carry, and he's wrapped up and brought down, but not before gaining about 6 yards and picking up the first down.
See Kochman there just lowering his shoulder against the linebacker. The linebacker takes him down, but Kochman showing that, you know, he has some power behind his legs, and as a freshman is able to deliver hits while running the ball too.
Yeah, Kochman, a hard runner. Maybe not as much of the speed guy as Gladich is, but he's a hard guy to bring down already as a freshman. And again, folks, the thing you really have to know is these younger guys that Shanley is playing right now are really the same age as a lot of these guys starting for Valley City. That just speaks to the youth of this Highliner team. Just really got to feel good about Valley City's future over the next couple of years, you know. It's a bit of a rebuilding year this year for Valley City, but you can't forget that just last year, the Highliners were in the playoff picture till the very end of the season, and the year before that, they were one of the top contenders for a state title. So Valley City, rebuilding year, but pretty uncharacteristic for them to be, you know, winless at this point in the season.
You know, they have a good program down at Valley City and everything. You expect the coaches be able to bring this team up, have a bounce back year after this and everything, and have them keep building.
Yeah, no question. You know, you play this game, Shanley, Valley City last year, year before that, it's really anyone's game. This year, the Deacons just in a bit of a better spot with their program than Valley City. You know, that's the thing with high school sports, though, and really college. It's so much about age. You know, you get one or two of those really strong classes. Those guys graduate, and there's an adjustment period to replace some of those key players. You know, names that come to mind from last year's squad, Nate Rodriguez, a heck of a player, heck of a running back for Valley City. It's tough to replace guys like that. You know, you got to wait for some guys to mature into the roles that they played, and it takes time. It's frustrating sometimes as a fan. It's certainly frustrating as a member of the team, but it's time and patience.
And even being a part of that team, it's really a character-growing experience because when you're a part of a losing program, but then you stick with that, and then over time you realize how much better that you got, it really does help you out.
Absolutely, and you know, it wasn't that long ago that Shanley was in some hard times, you know, before some conference or division realignments, excuse me. The Deacons really found themselves in a tough situation a lot of times. But you can see how quickly fortunes change, and obviously Valley City, give them a few years. Just wait for these 9th and 10th graders to be juniors and seniors, and you've got a scary team going.
And that's the thing, just even the transition from sophomore to junior year of almost all players, the size and the speed difference, they're more physical, they're bigger, they've been in the weight room more, they're heavier, they've been eating more, and they're smarter too. Like, they're just more dominant as players.
No doubt about it. And you see now Shanley, some of their young players got to be feeling good about as Kevin Gladich got him down to this spot. And now who's going to punch it in? I believe that's Carter Kochman who got the edge. Yes, it is. And so Gladich gets him down. Kochman gets him in. And it's 55-6 now.
And we're seeing some jet sweep action from JV. Haven't seen too much of that with Shanley starters or anything, but that's the second time that we've seen that. Maybe something to preview in the future.
Yeah, certainly. Shanley certainly has the personnel to run plays like that. You see Kochman doing it. You got to imagine some of the speed guys like Buckles and Fredericks can execute those type of plays as well. And now you see another mass substitution here for Shanley with 4:08 and counting left on the clock. Obviously subbing in some new personnel here for the point after. On for the extra point, that is number 14, Emmett Kenny, and that one is up with plenty of leg, but it appeared to go left. And it was, it's always tough to tell from up here, but the signal from the referee is wide. So a tough break there for the freshman Kenny, but also tough conditions considering the wind.
Mm-hmm. And even so, it's like we've been talking about, almost with Valley City, it's those times when you're losing and that you got to keep fighting that you really grow. For Emmett Kenny, he's a freshman kicking the ball. That kick will be something that he'll remember, that will push him during practice, and that he'll keep growing from.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. You don't want to miss, but a miss here and there is always a good thing. Like you said, character building. Not to mention, a kicker as a freshman, you're just not going to find too many guys who can really do that too well, just such a high-pressure spot. Sophomore, though, how about Matthew Machenbacher, the sophomore kicker? He does not look phased at all when he's out there kicking for Shanley. His field goal last week against St. Mary's proved to be the game winner. So Shanley looks to have a solid starter at kicker for the next few years. And folks, Watford City, St. Mary's, update from that game, 8:49 left to go. It is 18-9 in favor of Watford City. So St. Mary's trying to come back here, but it's a 9-point game, 2-possession game with a little over 8 minutes to go. As that ball is brought up to about the 36-yard line with 3:35 left.
And you just see Suffolk just bouncing tacklers off of him. And that's kind of what we're talking about, the difference between a junior and a senior or a sophomore who's been getting a lot of playing time compared to a freshman or a sophomore who's coming in cold. Just the hits that they're able to deliver, there's such a difference to that type of play.
Yeah, good to see Tate Suffolk coming out there and laying the wood after getting rattled earlier with an injury. Great to see him back in. So the Valley City offense coming back out to work. And this snap goes directly to the running back. That's Peyton Zahn. Zahn turning it upfield and out for a gain of about 5 yards now as the clock dips below 3 minutes.
And it's kind of been the story of the second half. It's just been running the ball from both teams, just trying to get some momentum going into the next game, set up some of those younger players, set up some new plays, and then get some experience with it, almost trying some new things, but at the same time getting the fundamentals down.
Shotgun now, and in at quarterback, it's Cale Griebel. And now it's a handoff and not going too far. Corey Nelson. Nelson gains a couple of yards there, but that's it. 2:10 and counting left to go. That makes it 3rd down and 4. So we'll see what the Highliners have up their sleeves here on 3rd down. In shotgun, it's Griebel, but the snap is instead to the running back, Zahn. Zahn carrying it up the left side. He's got a 1st down and more, and he's down at the 50-yard line.
And right now, Valley City, they're running an offense that's very hard to defend, actually, if you don't have much experience with it, because the ball can be snapped to anybody in the backfield and then handed off to anybody. So it's very hard to predict where the ball's actually going to go.
Absolutely. If you haven't really watched the tape close when you're playing an offense like this, if you haven't seen it before, it's so hard to defend because there's so many options. And now you see the pass game coming into play as Griebel hits his receiver, but he is brought down hard That's a great tackle that time for the Deacons. And on that one was Dylan Erholtz, the freshman linebacker.
And then Austin Brand, also a freshman tight end for Valley City. This guy is, he's marked 6'3", 140 on the roster. Tall, not that heavy, but again, expect him to gain weight and get stronger as the years go on.
Absolutely. As a coach, you know, you love that height. 6'3" as a freshman, bound to grow a little bit more. Once you get some weight on there, that's going to be big. And now a big interception for the Deacons with just 22 seconds left. Let's see if we can get a look at the replay, get a number, because I did not see who that was.
I think that was number 25. I could be completely wrong. That would be Jack Crystal, folks.
Let's see who it is back there making a nice play, and I think you're right there, Josh. Jack Crystal, I think, back there for the Deacons. So a nice play here for Shanley with just 21 seconds left. They're going to try to end this one just, you know, with a kneel down here or a run up 55-6. Not going to see him take any shots here, I don't think. And now a late substitution is, yeah, Josh, as you were saying.
As I was saying? Oh, yeah, as I was saying. Yeah, there was a late substitution. Things often need to be worked out when you don't know the personnel perfectly and everything.
Yeah, not too uncommon to see some of those younger guys coming on late. And now it looks like they'll just line up, and that'll be it as the clock runs out on this game. 55-6 in favor of Shanley. Just a dominant win for the Deacons. And, you know, Josh, not much more you can say about this one here tonight. Just an impressive win for Shanley. But going forward for both these teams, you know, what do you see moving on the rest of the season?
Well, for Shanley, I expect them to keep moving with this momentum from St. Mary's to now, and then I think to Wahpeton next week. Just expect them to keep playing and just really keep progressing as this season goes on. They're in midseason form, but expect them to keep going and then hopefully get some guys back from injuries without suffering anymore. For Valley City, what we're going to be looking for is just for them just to keep growing as a team. You know, get those younger guys playing a little more consistently, get those fundamentals down, and then finish out the season strongly, maybe with a win.
Yeah, Josh, you know, couldn't have said it better myself. You know, it's about what you can expect for both teams going forward. Should be fun to see Valley City over the next couple of years, you know, see what these guys can do. For Shanley, though, you know, looking a lot shorter term. They're looking good moving forward here for the rest of the season. They got a couple of big games coming up, but they appear to be playoff bound with a lot of momentum. Folks, quick before we go, Watford City continues to lead St. Mary's 18-16 with 5 minutes left. That will be huge to see how that one ends. We won't be able to bring that final to you, but just so you know, if you want to go find that score, that's a pretty big game here in AA. For tonight, though, for Josh Johnson and for our entire crew, I'm Jed Thomas. Your final score from Fargo: Shanley Deacons 55, Valley City Highliners 6. To watch the archived version of this entire game and our other broadcasts, go to ShanleyTV.com. The proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV.